Friends, colleagues, fellow seekers of meaning and impact, we gather today not to talk about what success is, but what it isn't. We're here to unearth the hidden architects of failure, the subtle sabotages that derail even the most promising journeys. Because true success, the kind that resonates deeply and endures, isn't just about what you do, but how you think and behave. Let's explore 10 fundamental pitfalls that often extinguish the flame of potential, leaving us wondering why our efforts fall short. 1. The addiction to instant gratification. In a world wired for immediacy, we've become accustomed to quick fixes and immediate results. But genuine success, be it in a career, a relationship, or a personal skill, is a marathon, not a sprint. It demands patience, perseverance, and a willingness to delay reward for a greater, more sustainable outcome. The constant craving for no blinds us to the compounding power of consistent, incremental effort. We abandon promising ventures too soon, mistaking the absence of immediate fanfare for lack of progress. 2. The obsession with metrics over mission. We measure everything: quarterly earnings, follower counts, like views. While data is valuable, when the numbers become the sole focus, we lose sight of the deeper purpose. We optimize for easily quantifiable targets, often at the expense of true value creation, meaningful relationships, or the integrity of our original vision. Success becomes a game of hitting targets, not fulfilling a calling. This short-sightedness erodes trust and diminishes long-term impact. 3. The scarcity mindset. This is the belief that resources, opportunities, or even affection are finite and must be hoarded or competed for. It fosters fear, envy, and a reluctance to collaborate. When we believe there's not enough to go around, we operate from a place of defense rather than creation. True abundance comes from recognizing interconnectedness, sharing knowledge, and celebrating the success of others, understanding that a rising tide lifts all boats. 4. Neglecting the inner game. We spend countless hours honing external skills, strategy, marketing, technical expertise. But what about the internal landscape? Our self-talk, resilience, emotional intelligence, and ability to manage stress are often overlooked. Yet it's these invisible forces that determine how we navigate setbacks, inspire others, and maintain our drive when external circumstances are challenging. An unexamined inner life leads to burnout, self-doubt, and ultimately self-sabotage. 5. The fear of failure and the fear of success. The fear of failure is paralyzes action, but the fear of success is more insidious. It manifests as imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, or reluctance to step into a larger role because of the perceived pressure or responsibility. Both fears stem from a desire to remain in a comfortable, known state, preventing us from taking the necessary risks to grow and evolve. We must embrace both the lessons of failure and the challenges that come with achievement. 6. Confusing activity with productivity. We're busy, extremely busy. Our calendars are packed, our inboxes overflowing. But is all this activity translating into meaningful progress? Often, we conflate business with productivity, mistaking motion for direction. True productivity isn't about doing more, but about doing the right things. It requires clarity on priorities, deep work, and the courage to say no to distractions that don't align with our core objectives. 7. Isolating yourself. No one achieves lasting success alone. Innovation, problem solving, and emotional resilience are amplified through connection. When we retreat into our own silos, we deprive ourselves of diverse perspectives, critical feedback, and the emotional support essential for navigating challenges. A lack of genuine human connection leads to stagnation, loneliness, and a limited view of what's possible. 8. Resistance to adaptability and learning. The world is not static. What worked yesterday may not work today, and certainly won't work tomorrow. A rigid adherence to outdated methods, a refusal to learn new skills, or an inability to pivot in the face of new information spells doom. Success demands curiosity, humility, and a lifelong commitment to learning and evolving. The willingness to unlearn as much as we learn is paramount. 9. Neglecting well-being for the grind. The myth of the always-on, perpetually grinding individual is a dangerous one. While dedication is crucial, the relentless pursuit of achievement at the expense of sleep, nutrition, relationships, and mental health is unsustainable. It leads to diminished creativity, poor decision-making, and eventual breakdown. Our bodies and minds are our primary tools. Neglecting them is like trying to build a skyscraper with a blunt hammer. 10. Losing sight of your why. Perhaps the most potent killer of success is forgetting why you started in the first place. When the initial passion fades and the journey becomes arduous, it's your fundamental purpose that anchors you. Without a clear, deeply felt why, external pressures or temporary setbacks can easily derail you. Your why provides direction, fuels resilience, and ensures that your actions are aligned with something far greater than just accumulation. To truly thrive, to build something lasting and meaningful, we must turn these 10 killers into 10 guiding principles. Cultivate patience, prioritize purpose, embrace abundance, master your inner world, fear inaction more than failure, pursue productivity over mere activity, foster deep connections, commit to perpetual learning, cherish your well-being, and above all, never ever lose sight of your why. Thank you. 5 keynotes of the speech. Prioritize purpose over metrics. True success is driven by a clear why and mission, not solely by quantifiable results or short-term gains. This is perhaps the most fundamental and insidious threat to genuine enduring achievement. In our data-driven world, we are constantly bombarded with numbers, sales figures, engagement rates, productivity scores, profit margins. While these metrics can be valuable indicators of performance, they are not in themselves the goal. When we allow the pursuit of these numbers to eclipse our underlying purpose, the reason we started, the problem we aim to solve, the impact we sought to create, we embark on a dangerous path. Consider a company that was founded with a mission to innovate sustainable energy solutions. In its early days, every decision was filtered through the lens of that mission. But as it grew, the pressure for quarterly financial results intensified. Soon, decisions began to be made not for their long-term sustainability impact, but for their immediate effect on the stock price or the next earnings report. Research and development in cutting-edge, but initially unprofitable technologies might be scaled back. Ethical sourcing practices, which could slightly increase costs, might be compromised. The why that once fueled passionate work becomes a forgotten mantra, replaced by the relentless pursuit of an ever-increasing numerical target. Similarly, in our personal lives, we might set out to learn a new skill, perhaps playing a musical instrument for the sheer joy of creation and expression. But if we then become fixated on the number of hours practiced, or comparing our progress to a virtuoso on social media, the joy can quickly dissipate. The intrinsic motivation, the love of the craft, is supplanted by an external benchmark. The purpose gets lost in the metric. The danger here is not just that we lose our way, but that we might achieve the metrics and still feel profoundly unfulfilled. We might hit all the targets, accumulate all the wealth, or gain all the followers, only to realize that the journey had no soul and the destination lacks meaning. This disconnect between what we do and why we do it can lead to burnout, disillusionment, and a deep sense of emptiness, even amidst outward success. To counter this, we must consciously and consistently revisit our fundamental purpose. What is the core problem we are solving? What value are we truly creating for others? What impact do we genuinely want to make? These are questions that should be asked not just at the outset, but continually, serving as the compass that guides our efforts. Metrics should serve the mission, not the other way around. They are tools for evaluation, not the definition of success itself. When our why is clear and paramount, the metrics become a feedback loop, helping us understand if we are effectively moving towards our intended impact, rather than becoming the sole arbiters of our worth or our path. It allows for a more resilient, meaningful, and ultimately more successful journey. Embrace long-term vision and patience, resist instant gratification. Sustainable success is built through consistent incremental effort over time. In a world saturated with the allure of quick wins and viral sensations, the temptation to chase instant gratification becomes a pervasive force. We see headlines promising overnight success, social media feeds filled with seemingly effortless achievements, and a culture that often celebrates rapid rises over enduring consistency. This constant exposure to expedited results can subtly rewire expectations, leading us to believe that genuine, lasting success should arrive quickly, without the arduous, often unseen work that precedes it. Yet, the truth is, anything truly significant, anything built to last, requires an unwavering commitment to a long-term vision and an abundance of patience. Think of a towering oak tree. It doesn't spring from an acorn overnight. It requires years, even decades, of consistent watering, sunlight, and resilience against storms. Its growth is largely imperceptible on a daily basis, but over time, the cumulative effect of those minute increments transforms it into something magnificent and deeply rooted. Our journey toward meaningful success mirrors this natural process. Whether it's mastering a complex skill, building a thriving business, cultivating a deeply rewarding relationship, or fostering significant personal growth, the path is rarely a straight line upwards. It's marked by plateaus, setbacks, and moments where progress feels agonizingly slow. The addiction to instant gratification manifests in our impatience. We might embark on a new fitness regimen, expecting dramatic changes in weeks. When those changes don't materialize with the speed we anticipate, frustration sets in, and we're tempted to abandon the effort, convinced it's not working. The same applies to entrepreneurial ventures. A startup might launch with grand ambitions, but without immediate profitability or widespread adoption, founders might pivot frantically, or worse, fold the operation altogether, never allowing their initial vision the time it needed to mature and gain traction. This is the danger of mistaking the absence of immediate fanfare for a lack of progress. The most significant growth often occurs silently beneath the surface, before it becomes visibly manifest. Patience in this context isn't passive waiting, it's an active, disciplined commitment. It's the decision to continue showing up, putting in the work, and refining your approach even when the external rewards are not yet apparent. It's understanding the concept of compounding returns not just in finance, but in effort, learning, and skill development. Each small, consistent action, even if seemingly insignificant on its own, adds to a growing reservoir of capability and momentum. The extra hour spent practicing, the diligent networking call, the careful refinement of a product feature, these are the tiny deposits that, over time, accumulate into a substantial return. Embracing a long-term vision allows us to see beyond the immediate hurdles and temporary setbacks. It gives us a compass pointing to a distant but meaningful destination, providing the motivation to endure the less glamorous stages of the journey. When we are anchored by a long-term perspective, we are less likely to be swayed by fleeting trends, superficial criticisms, or the siren call of shortcuts. We understand that true value is rarely generated through expedient means. It requires the courage to invest in processes that deliver results far down the road, trusting that persistence will eventually break through. Cultivating this patience, this unwavering focus on the horizon, transforms potential frustration into resilient determination, paving the way for the profound and enduring success that truly matters. Cultivate inner resilience, self-awareness, Emotional intelligence and well-being are as crucial as external skills for navigating challenges and maintaining drive. We often expend tremendous energy on developing our external skills, the technical expertise for our jobs, the strategic acumen for business, the marketing prowess to promote our ideas. We pore over books, attend seminars, and practice diligently to sharpen our professional edge. Yet, a critical dimension of true success, one that often determines the sustainability and depth of our achievements, lies within. It's the cultivation of our inner game, our self-awareness, our emotional intelligence, and our unwavering commitment to our well-being. These internal capacities are not just soft skills, they are the bedrock upon which genuine and lasting success is built, especially when navigating the inevitable complexities and setbacks of any meaningful endeavor. Think of self-awareness as your internal GPS. Without it, you're driving blind. It's the ability to understand your own emotions, strengths, weaknesses, values, and motivations. When you possess strong self-awareness, you can accurately perceive how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, and how those feelings might be impacting your thoughts and actions. This insight is invaluable. It allows you to recognize when stress is building, when imposter syndrome is creeping in, or when your current approach is misaligned with your deeper values. Without this internal compass, we can unknowingly make decisions driven by unexamined fears, ego, or external pressures, rather than by clear intent and authentic purpose. Self-awareness empowers you to choose your responses rather than simply reacting to circumstances, a crucial distinction for sustained resilience. Building on self-awareness is emotional intelligence. This isn't just about understanding your own emotions, but also recognizing and influencing the emotions of others. In any field, especially in leadership or collaborative environments, the ability to empathize, to communicate effectively, to manage conflict constructively, and to inspire collective action rests heavily on emotional intelligence. Imagine a leader who is technically brilliant but lacks empathy. They might devise perfect strategies on paper, but if they cannot connect with their team, understand their anxieties, or motivate them beyond mere instruction, their vision is unlikely to be fully realized. Emotional intelligence fosters trust, builds strong relationships, and enables effective navigation of the human dynamics that are inherent in any successful venture. It's the lubricant that allows complex systems of people to operate smoothly, even under pressure. Finally, well-being is not a luxury. It is a prerequisite for sustained high performance. In our culture, there's often a pervasive narrative that equates success with relentless grinding, sacrificing sleep, personal relationships, and mental health for the sake of achievement. This is a dangerous myth. Our minds and bodies are our primary tools, and like any tool, they require maintenance, rest, and fuel to function optimally. Neglecting sleep degrades cognitive function and decision-making. Ignoring stress leads to burnout and health issues. Foregoing moments of joy and connection leaves us feeling hollow and uninspired. When we push ourselves to the brink, our creativity diminishes, our problem-solving abilities falter, and our capacity for resilience wanes. True well-being encompasses physical health, mental clarity, emotional balance, and a sense of purpose beyond work. It's about recognizing that taking time for rest, rejuvenation, and personal connection isn't a distraction from success, but a vital investment in it. Prioritizing well-being ensures that we have the energy, clarity, and emotional fortitude to sustain our efforts over the long haul, to bounce back from setbacks, and to lead not just effectively, but also authentically and inspiringly. The inner game, therefore, isn't just a complement to external skills, it is the engine that drives them, ensuring that our success is not just impactful, but also deeply fulfilling and sustainable. Foster connection and adaptability, avoid isolation and rigidity, collaboration, continuous learning, and a willingness to pivot are essential for growth. No one achieves anything truly significant in isolation. The notion of the solitary genius, toiling away in a vacuum, is largely a romanticized myth. Real innovation, robust problem solving, and enduring success are almost invariably the result of connection, the dynamic interplay of diverse minds, shared experiences, and collective effort. When we retreat into our own silos, whether by choice or by habit, we inadvertently cut ourselves off from the very oxygen that fuels progress and resilience. This self-imposed isolation is a silent killer of success. Consider the sheer complexity of modern challenges, be they in business, science, or social impact. No single individual possesses all the knowledge, all the perspectives, or all the skills required to navigate them effectively. Success thrives in environments where ideas can collide, where feedback is freely exchanged, and where different strengths can complement one another. When we actively seek out and foster genuine connections, we open ourselves to new insights, learn from others' mistakes and successes, and gain access to a wider network of resources and support. A lack of connection leads to intellectual stagnation, narrow viewpoints, and a diminished capacity to adapt. It can also lead to a profound sense of loneliness, which paradoxically often accompanies the intense pressures of high achievement. The emotional support derived from meaningful relationships is not merely a nicety. It is a crucial buffer against the stresses and disappointments inherent in any ambitious pursuit. Hand in hand with connection is adaptability. The world is in a constant state of flux. Technologies evolve, markets shift, societal needs change, and unforeseen disruptions emerge. What brought success yesterday may become irrelevant or even detrimental tomorrow. A rigid adherence to outdated methods, an unwillingness to question long-held assumptions, or a resistance to learning new skills spells doom. This inflexibility is often born from a fear of the unknown, a comfort in the familiar, or an egoic attachment to past accomplishments. It's the stubborn refusal to acknowledge that the landscape has changed, clinging to what was rather than embracing what is and what could be. Success demands curiosity, a hunger to understand what's new, what's different, and what's possible. It requires humility, the recognition that you don't have all the answers, and that learning is a continuous journey. And it demands a lifelong commitment to learning and evolving. This isn't just about formal education, it's about actively seeking new information, experiment with new approaches, reflecting on outcomes, and being willing to unlearn as much as we learn. The most resilient individuals and organizations are those that view change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for reinvention and growth. They are not defined by what they've always done, but by their capacity to continuously redefine themselves in response to a dynamic world. The interconnectedness of these two elements, fostering connection and embracing adaptability, cannot be overstated. Our connections provide the diverse inputs and perspectives that inform our need to adapt. They expose us to new ideas, challenge our preconceptions, and provide the collective intelligence necessary to navigate uncertainty. Conversely, our willingness to adapt makes us more valuable collaborators as we become flexible, open-minded partners in problem solving. By actively cultivating strong relationships and committing ourselves to a continuous process of learning and evolution, we build a foundation that is not only robust enough to withstand the inevitable storms, but also agile enough to seize emerging opportunities, ensuring that our journey towards success remains vibrant and relevant. Confront fears and define true productivity, overcome the fear of both failure and success, and focus on doing the right things that align with your purpose rather than just being busy. This keynote touches upon two profound psychological barriers and one crucial practical distinction that collectively act as significant inhibitors of success. First, let's address the dual fears, the fear of failure, which is widely recognized, and its less obvious but equally potent counterpart, the fear of success. The fear of failure is a palpable, paralyzing force. It manifests as procrastination, a reluctance to start, or an unwillingness to take necessary risks. We fear the judgment, the perceived loss of status, the financial repercussions, or simply the discomfort of not achieving our desired outcome. This fear often stems from a misconception that failure is a definitive end rather than an inevitable and often vital part of the learning process. It leads us to play small, to stay within our comfort zones, and to avoid ambitious pursuits where the possibility of falling short exists. The truth is, every significant achievement is built upon a foundation of experiments, missteps, and lessons learned from things that didn't work. To avoid failure entirely is to guarantee stagnation and to forfeit the lessons that are prerequisites for growth. However, the fear of success is a more insidious, often subconscious impediment. It's the anxiety that arises when we contemplate the implications of achieving our goals. This might manifest as imposter syndrome, where we feel unworthy of our accomplishments, or a deep-seated belief that we won't be able to sustain the level of performance that led to success. It can also be a fear of the added responsibilities, the increased visibility, the potential loss of privacy, or the new expectations that come with elevated status. Sometimes it's the fear of leaving behind familiar relationships or environments, or the discomfort of being the tall poppy. This fear can lead to self-sabotage, subconsciously undermining our own efforts as we near a breakthrough, or creating excuses to avoid opportunities that would push us further into the spotlight. Both the fear of failure and the fear of success trap us in a cycle of inaction or limited ambition. To move forward, we must courageously examine these fears, understand their roots, and actively choose to embrace the full spectrum of experiences that come with genuine progress, including the discomfort of both falling short and rising above. Second, let's distinguish between activity and true productivity. In our hyper-connected, always-on world, business has become a badge of honor. Our calendars are packed, our inboxes overflow, and we often confuse a packed schedule with meaningful output. We engage in constant motion, believing that the more tasks we complete, the more emails we send, the more meetings we attend, the more productive we must be. Yet, genuine productivity isn't about doing more things. It's about doing the right things, the tasks and efforts that are most aligned with our core purpose and highest leverage goals. This requires a profound clarity on priorities, which many people lack, leading them to spread their energy thinly across a multitude of low-impact activities. True productivity demands focused, deep work, the ability to concentrate without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. It involves the courage to say no to distractions, to commitments that don't align with our objectives, and to the endless stream of minor urgencies. It's about discerning between the urgent and the important, and consistently choosing the latter. It's also about understanding that not all effort is equal. A single, well-executed strategic decision can yield far greater results than 100 hours of reactive task management. When we prioritize activity over productivity, we risk burning out on trivialities, exhausting our energy on tasks that move the needle incrementally, if at all, while our most significant goals languish unaddressed. By confronting our fears and sharpening our focus on truly productive efforts aligned with our deepest purpose, we unlock a powerful pathway to sustain meaningful success. Friends, we have explored 10 fundamental pitfalls that can silently derail our pursuit of success: the craving for instant gratification, the obsession with metrics over a clear mission, the limiting grip of scarcity, The neglect of our inner well-being and emotional intelligence, the paralyzing fears of both failure and success, the deceptive allure of business over true productivity, the dangers of isolation, the resistance to learning and adaptability, and the critical act of losing sight of our deepest why. These aren't just abstract concepts, they are daily choices, subtle habits, and deeply ingrained mindsets that either propel us forward or hold us back. The journey toward meaningful achievement is rarely straightforward. It is filled with challenges, unexpected turns, and moments that test our resolve. But by understanding these common inhibitors, we gain the power to consciously choose a different path. Success in its most profound form is not merely about accumulating external rewards, but about building something enduring and impactful that aligns with who we are and what truly matters. It's about finding fulfillment in the process, growing through the struggles, and contributing something valuable to the world around us. To do this, we must actively counter these forces of self-sabotage. We must cultivate patience for the long game, consistently reaffirm our purpose above all else, operate from a mindset of abundance, diligently nurture our inner resilience, boldly confront our fears, commit to true productivity, actively seek connection and collaboration, embrace continuous learning and adaptability, champion our well-being, and above all, keep our core why illuminated as our guiding star. The path to success is less about avoiding obstacles and more about how we navigate them. It's about building the character and the habits that allow us not just to achieve, but to thrive sustainably. Let us embark on this journey with awareness, intention, and an unwavering commitment to the principles that truly foster profound and lasting success. Thank you.